Hello students, welcome to Study Live. So today we are going to study a very important chapter in physics, that is the units and measurement. This chapter is very important students because this measurement concept we are going to use in each and every chapter hereafter in 12th standard and further studies also we are going to use it. Okay, so let us talk about this study. So students, let us study in detail about units and measurement. Now in this case, let us talk about first units. Units, you will find that any quantities we take, suppose for example अगर कोई चीज़ measure करना है तो क्या कहते हैं, टेबल को measure करना है तो we say that 2 meters, 3 meters, meters साथ में आता है because that is the unit, then only we will understand, है ना. अगर शॉप में राइस खरीदने जाते हैं तो वी नेवर से 5 राइस देना, वी से दैट 5 kg राइस देना बिकॉज kg इज द यूनिट सो दैट वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड complete quantity about that. Okay, so students, units is very important, so let us study in detail about it. So first of all we are going to talk about the system of units. Okay, now in this case system of units students, there are 4 systems which is given here, that is CGS, MKS, FPS and SI system. SI system everybody has studied in lower classes also, SI, MKS and CGS. CGS is nothing but what? Centimeter, gram, second system, right? MKS is meter, kilogram, second system. There is one more one which you have not heard about, that is the FPS system. FPS meaning what? Foot, pound, second system. अच्छा, प्रॉब्लम क्या है इसमें? फुट मीनिंग पैर का जो साइज होता है, फुट, विद दैट लैंड वाज मेजर्ड अर्लियर, है ना. तो जब फुट से लैंड मेजर करते थे तो क्या प्रॉब्लम होता था कि कभी कभी जो टॉल आदमी है उसका फुट बड़ा साइज का होता था, ठीक है, ड्वार्फ का फुट जो है साइज छोटा है, तो इसमें चीटिंग बहुत होती थी बिकॉज दिस इज वेरिएबल, राइट. फुट साइज इज नॉट कांस्टेंट, so that we cannot include in systems which is universally constant, we cannot say that. So that is why this particular concept we cannot use, that is the FPS system we have deleted. Okay, so that is the reason for it students. Then let us talk about the next one part is the fundamental quantities. Achha, fundamental quantities meaning what? The quantities which do not depend on any other physical quantities for their measurement. What does it mean? जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल घर में जो है पेरेंट्स है, दे आर फंडामेंटल, राइट, सो दे आर नॉट डिपेंडेंट ऑन एनीबडी एल्स, राइट. सो हियर ऑल्सो इन क्वांटिटीज, फिजिकल क्वांटिटीज बहुत सारे हैं, मास, लेंथ, टाइम, वेलोसिटी, टेम्परेचर, प्रेशर, एवरीथिंग, ठीक है. तो इसमें से कुछ क्वांटिटीज है विच डू नॉट डिपेंड ऑन एनीथिंग एल्स फॉर इट्स मेजरमेंट. सच क्वांटिटीज वी कॉल्ड एज व्हाट? फंडामेंटल क्वांटिटीज. एंड जो इसका यूनिट्स है, there are 7 fundamental quantities, remember this. Okay, and उसके जो units हैं we call it as what? Fundamental units. You can see here these are the 7 fundamental quantities students: length, mass, time, temperature, electric current, luminous intensity, amount of substance. Okay, and these are all units which you have to remember. The question can be asked for 1 mark. What is fundamental quantities? Then next one is what is derived quantities. Now derived quantities, I gave you the example of parent as fundamental quantity or fundamental person. Kids are derived. Okay, okay, kids are dependent on what? Parents. So here also derived quantities are dependent on fundamental quantities. Such quantities we call it as what? Derived quantities. So we can study here the derived quantities, they depend on fundamental quantities for their measurement. Now let us see the example. Here you can just study this particular part. Okay, the quantities which are dependent, okay, we call it as what? Derived quantities, and the units are called as derived units. Let us talk about the example which is given here, that is the velocity. Velocity formula is what? Displacement upon time, right? That means velocity is dependent on displacement also and time also, and displacement and time both are what? Fundamental quantities. That is why velocity we call it as what? Derived quantities, and the unit is meter per second, right students. Like this we can study many more examples later also, but here one more given, that is momentum. Momentum is nothing but what students? Mass into velocity. Okay, that means momentum again is dependent on mass and velocity is dependent on displacement and time. So of course momentum is also a derived quantities. Okay, so we have studied about fundamental units, derived units, and now it is supplementary units. Now supplementary units meaning one is plane angle and solid angle. Okay, now what is this plane angle? Plane angle is nothing but what? Ratio of an arc of the circle to the ratio of to the radius of the circle, right? As you can see here, look at this particular diagram, right? This is the arc of the circle which is taken here, okay, and this is the radius which is given here. So the plane angle is arc upon radius, that is ds upon r, right? And this unit of this plane angle is radians, right students? Then solid angle is for 3D, that is 3-dimensional, right? Now plane angle was for 2-dimensional figure, this was for 3-dimensional figure. Now in this case the solid angle is dA upon r square, right? Now in the here surface area, when you consider it as what, 4 pi r square, so if you substitute the value, students, you are going to get what, 4 pi, right? Now this unit is steradians. Unit of this is steradians for solid angles. The solid angles, what is the value we got here? 4 pi. Okay. So this is that 3D diagram which is shown here, and just you have to remember the plane angle value and solid angle value. Okay. Then after this, next part is conventions of use of units. Here conversion is given, which is very, very important. Milli word, whenever it comes, remember 10 raised to minus 3. Always remember like that. Whenever there is micro word is there, that means it is what, 10 raised to minus 6. Always conversion will be like that. And if it is nano meaning 10 raised to minus 3, sorry, 10 raised to minus 9. So these are the conversion, we should know about it. What you have to study in this is about measurement only. You should know about what you mean by parallax method. Parallax method is something where, I'll just give you a small example of it. Suppose for example, when you are measuring a voltmeter, okay, there is a pointer and you are measuring a voltmeter value, right? Now when pointer, there is a small mirror there, you must have seen that while doing Ohm's law experiments and all. So there is a pointer and below that mirror you get the image. If both coincide, right, that means you have removed parallax. If you have not coincided, it's not coinciding, you are seeing from one angle, from this side, what will happen? Object will be different and image will be different. So that is called as parallax value. So if whenever there is a parallax in the readings, that means reading will be wrong, measurement will be wrong. That is the meaning of it. So you can just read through this. Okay. So questions won't be on that. Questions will be on plane angle and solid angle and everything. So students, we are going to talk about dimensions, right? Dimensions is a very important concept and new for you all, because here we are going to talk about any physical quantity when it is given, what are the dimensions of it. And normally dimensions are written in terms of L, M, T. That means length, mass, time. Okay. Now always, but length, mass, time is what? Fundamental quantities. That means dimensions are represented in the form of fundamental quantities, right? Now how to get the dimensions for different quantities? Now for example, students, you can see here velocity is given, that is displacement upon time, and displacement is nothing but what? Meter per second, right? And this thing, if you want to write in terms of dimensions, you know that dimensions I told you, you have to write in terms of what? L, M, T, correct? Now, meter meaning length, and the power of meter is 1. So, length power will be 1. So, it will be L1. Okay. M meaning mass. Mass unit is kg. Kg is not here. So, we are going to write here 0. Power will be 0. Then comes T. T stands for time. Time meaning seconds. Seconds is there in the denominator. Power is 1. When it goes in the numerator, power will be minus 1. So, this is how we have to write the dimensions. Right student? Now same thing is given here for velocity gradient. Now look at this, velocity gradient is what? Velocity upon distance. Now velocity, we have just learned the dimensions. We can write LT only. Why? Because M is not there. M is 0 for this. So L1 T minus 1 we can write. Okay. So it is L1 T minus 1, and upon distance is of course L1. So students, we are getting what? L0 M0 T minus 1. The same thing you can also represent it as only T minus 1, right? If the power is 0, that means that quantity, that term is not there. So we can just remove that from the dimension list. Okay. Similarly, here it is given for the charge. Charge is the current into time, and from here current is measured is what? In ampere, that is I we can take, and time T. So we get Lm will be what? 0. So T1 I1. This is the dimension of current. Sorry, charge. So like this we can find dimensions of many other quantities, students. So this is a chart which is given in the book. You have to learn all these quantities because the questions will be based on this. That is 1 to 8 quantities are given, and everywhere if you see, if you practice, definitely it will be very easy. Dimensions is mass upon volume. So based on that we can find it out. Acceleration, velocity upon time. Power, momentum is mass into velocity. Force, mass into acceleration. So basic thing is what, students, you should know the formulae. Once you know the formula, you can write the dimensions very easily, right? So here one more new concept is that is the impulse. Now what is the meaning of impulse? Now large force applied in short time. Suppose you want to nail that. So what we can do? You can use the hammer. So large force in short time you are doing it. So that is what is the impulse. With the while cricket also, large force in short time. So that is the impulse. So this is the formula here. Work is nothing but what? Fs, force into displacement. Already you have learned about it. Kinetic energy is half mv square and pressure is force upon area. So like this many more dimensions are there which every chapter you are going to learn about. Something new concept. Okay. So basic things you have to learn all these things. Don't by heart dimensions, please. Learn by heart formulae. That is important. Now let us talk about uses of dimensions. Now students, uses of dimensions. In this case we are going to see that what is the use of dimensions, to do what all things. So the first very important is to check the correctness of physical equations. Any equation is given to you, you have to check whether it is right or wrong. So this question can be asked for 2 marks. Okay, any particular equation can be given. You can just see the equation over here, that is v is equal to u plus at. V is the final velocity, u is the initial velocity, a is the acceleration and t is the time. If I have to check whether this equation is right or wrong, so what is the step, student? What we can do is we can take the LHS and RHS. Okay, these two things we can consider. LHS, what do we have? We have velocity. Velocity dimension is meter per second. So it is meter per second. That is L1 t minus 1. So this is the dimension we are getting here. Then comes the RHS. RHS, there are 2 terms, students. So what we can see here, we can say that it is the RHS 1. This is the RHS 2. Okay, RHS 1 is u, right? That is the initial velocity. Again the dimension will be same. Then RHS 2 is nothing but what? At, that is acceleration into time. So acceleration dimension is again meter per second square. So we are getting this particular dimension, meter per second square, and time. So we are getting the final expression as this one. So what do you observe? We observe that LHS is equal to RHS. When this is there, that means we can say that the above equation is dimensionally correct. So that is the first use, students. So you at least remember this particular exercise so that it will be easy, and questions of course will be from the book only to learn all these things. The second one is, what we have to study here is to establish the relationship between related physical quantities. Now suppose any question is given to you and we have to relate a new equation we have to get. Now to get this, what will be given to you in the examination? It will be given one question. So this is the question which is given here. The period t of oscillation of a simple pendulum depends on length. If such thing is there, depends on words comes here. So what do we have? T, that is period of oscillation. T depends on meaning, students, proportional. Okay, depends on what all things? Length. So we are writing here L, and then what else? G, that means G. This is how you have to write it. But the question is, we don't know whether the power is there or not. So for that, what we can do, we can write here A and B. That is, this is the power which is we can assume. That means our aim is to find out what is the value of A and B. Once you get that, you are getting the complete equation. Okay. So to remove the proportional sign, you need a constant. So students, we are writing this particular part, that is G raised to B. This particular, right? Once you get this, then you have to just write the dimensions of each and every part. So just look here, you can see the dimension of time is given, that is T1. Then K constant. Constant does not have any dimensions. They are dimensionless. That is a drawback also, that we are going to learn later. Then comes the length dimension L1, students. Power is A. and g dimension is meter per second square, that is LT minus 2 power b. Okay, then you know that you have studied in lower classes that if it is x raised to 2 and again power is 3. So what are we supposed to do? We can multiply, so you get what? X raised to 6. That means index will be multiplied together. Okay, same thing is done here. 1 into a, we are writing a. So I'll just write this particular step here. So you get what? K L raised to a, right? And L raised to b, t raised to minus 2b. Right, student? So this is what you get, and after that you have to just add it because base is same. So we have added here, that is L raised to a plus b, t raised to minus 2b. So finally we can equate also because base is same both the sides, that is L, L, both the side is same. So we can say that a plus b is equal to 0, and other part you can see here, that is, so you get what? A is equal to minus b, students, we are getting here. But at the same thing, as you can see here, second part is what? Minus 2b is equal to 1. Okay. So b is equal to minus half. So we got a is equal to half and b is equal to minus half. These are the two values we got. So final expression we can write like this. Here you can just substitute L raised to half, g raised to minus half. So this is how we got a very new relation which we haven't studied about it. है ना? So इस तरह से using dimensions I am getting a new equation. That is the method second part. Okay, then the third one, now look at this, the third one is to find conversion factor. That means converting from MKS to CGS, right? This is what is the conversion part. We are going to use it with the dimensions we are going to apply here. So now suppose for example, if we are taking the example of work is nothing but what? 1 joule is equal to x erg. Okay, so we are going to write the dimensions of all. So dimensions of work, students, we should know about it. Already we have learned, that is force into displacement. From here you are going to get it. Okay. Now for MKS 1 joule. So I will just write one more step here. From here what we are getting is x is equal to 1 joule upon 1 erg. Okay. This is what we are going to get here. And then after that just substitute the value. So x value. Joule meaning what is MKS and this part is CGS. But how to differentiate? That we can differentiate with the suffix value 1, 1, 1 and 2, 2 and 2 value. From here we can find out if it is 1, 1, 1 suffix, that means it is MKS. If it is 2, 2, 2 meaning it is CGS. Then it is separated, students, as you can see here, M1 upon M2 power 1, L1 upon L2 power 2, like that. Then M1 is what? Mass in MKS, so we are writing kg. M2 is mass in CGS, so we are writing grams. Similarly, length is in meter and centimeter and seconds. Now seconds cancel and one value, 1 raised to any number is 1. So we are getting here further this particular part. Now look at this. Here you get what? X is equal to 1 kg is what? 10 raised to 3 grams. So we have written here this particular part, right? So similarly 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter, and then grams and grams can be cancelled, centimeter can be cancelled, and after that you are getting what? 10 raised to 7. So students, we have derived, converted from MKS to CGS, that is 1 joule is equal to 10 raised to 7 erg. So next concept is about limitations of dimensions. As we have studied the uses of dimensions, what are the limitations here? The first very much important limitation is what? Dimensionless quantities we cannot use here. Constant quantities we cannot do anything with the dimensions here. Okay, that is the first limitations. Second limitations, we can say that trigonometric questions, exponential, logarithm, that part we cannot derive any relation using dimensions. That is another this one limitations here. And this method is not useful if the constant of proportionality is not a dimensionless quantity. Okay, so these are all limitations. Just learn 2 or 3 limitations, that is more than sufficient. And then after that, error in measurements. This is important. So different types of error we are going to talk about, but basically what is the meaning of error we should know. Now error, basically suppose 2 readings are given to you. One is you are finding the readings and the one is with the teacher. So teacher is having what? True value, and what you are finding is the observed value. If both the readings having any difference, we call it as what? Error. Okay, so error is nothing but the difference between true and observed value. So what are different types of errors, students? The first one is systematic errors. Okay, now systematic errors also have got different types over here. Let us talk about this first one. Yes, different types of systematic errors, students. That is, first one is instrumental error. Okay, now what do you mean by instrumental error? Any instruments having defect in the calibration, मीनिंग जैसे थर्मामीटर ले लिया, ठीक है, थर्मामीटर में अगर सपोज मार्किंग थर्मामीटर when you consider and there is a marking done here, if the marking between 0 to 1 there should be 10 lines. If there is no 10 lines, only 9 lines are drawn. That means what? Calibration mistake, instrument is faulty. So that comes under instrumental error. ठीक है, then उसके बाद में next वाला जो है that is error due to imperfection in experimental technique. Meaning suppose if you take a voltmeter, if you consider a voltmeter, okay, there are marking like this 0, then numbers are there, then 1, like this marking is there, right, and there is a pointer. Now suppose the pointer is not showing 0, initially when you get it from the market the pointer does not show 0, right. What you are supposed to do, you have to set it to the 0 value. If you have not done it, so it is not the faulty instrument, it is a setting mistake. Okay, imperfection in experimental techniques we call it as. So that comes under error due to imperfection in experimental techniques. So that comes under this particular, that is a defective setting. Okay, then the third one is personal error. Personal error meaning suppose when the observer is taking the reading, है ना, 2-3 जन बैठ करके रीडिंग ले रहे हैं, टाइम पास कर रहे हैं, तो रीडिंग ऑब्वियसली विल बी रॉन्ग. सो दैट कम्स अंडर पर्सनल एरर. Suppose if you have got a specs and you are taking the reading in microscope and you are not able to read it properly because of the specs, that again comes under personal error. If you have not removed the parallax, that comes under personal error. So all these are personal error, that is carelessness, less concentration, everything comes under this. So that was the first type, students, we have studied, that is a systematic error. अभी हम लोग पढ़ेंगे random error. Okay, random error is something which you don't expect such things will happen. Like for example, suppose you are taking readings in between, there is a voltage fluctuation. Because of that the pointer will keep on shaking and you are not able to take it properly. Suppose you are taking cooling of water reading, cooling you are measuring and suddenly the temperature changed. Okay, it's raining outside, temperature changed. So that again comes under what? Random error. So change in climate, pressure, temperature, okay, that everything comes under random error. Okay, so this is all about error, students, that is asked for 3 marks which you have to learn about. And then we are going to talk about estimation of error. Now estimation of error also is very important. Here numericals will be asked on that. Okay, so very simple way is suppose such numerical is asked, these are the steps you have to follow. That is, this is the first step. That means any readings which is given, you just name it as A1, A2, A3, etc. Divide by that number. If 5 readings are there, divide by 5. 4 readings are there, divide by 4. So this is the first step you remember. Then you are going to find out the absolute error. So this is the second step you are going to remember. So what is the second step here? Absolute error, delta A1. Okay, mean minus A1. Like that you find out the differences, you are going to get the absolute error. Then next step is to find out mean absolute error. This is the third step, mean absolute error. That means all the absolute error divide by that number. If 5 absolute error, divide by 5. Okay, so after doing this, then comes the next part, that is a relative error. So this is the fourth step, that is a relative error. Relative error meaning absolute mean error divided by mean. Okay, so absolute mean value divided by mean value will give you what? Relative error. So these are the steps, students, you have to find out. And then one more step is there, that is after that is the percentage error. This is the fifth step, percentage error. That means you are just going to multiply by 100. Okay, so delta A mean upon A mean into 100. If you follow these steps, then any numericals you can solve it very easily. As you can see, look here, this is the important example which is given here. As you can see, as I told you, A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. These are the 5 readings given. Then what was the step? Look here, A mean is found out here, right? A mean, adding everything, divided by 5. Then comes the mean absolute error, second step which I told you. that they have calculated, added everything, divided by the number 5, then comes relative error and percentage error. So this is how you have to calculate. Then after learning that estimation of error, then comes the combination of error. Now combination of error also very important one, because numerical sums will be based on that in entrance exams. Normally they ask the questions on that. So the first step here is errors in sum and difference. Okay, that is addition and difference. Now suppose two quantities are given and that is the sum is given to you, then how to calculate error? This is the example which is given as z is equal to a plus b, right? Now in this case, always previous case you have studied that absolute error we are finding here. So we are going to write absolute error over here also for each value. So z plus minus delta z, plus minus in the sense it might increase the value or decrease the value. Okay. Similarly, a plus minus delta a, b plus minus delta b. Then a plus b you can bring it together like this. Okay. Then a plus b and z, of course same. So we can just cancel this particular part, both it is similar. So we can say that this is the formula you are getting, delta z is equal to plus minus delta a plus minus delta b. Similarly, for difference also we can write, students, for difference also you are going to get the same thing. If you can see here, these two can be cancelled and you are getting the same formula here. Now the point is, here always we take the maximum possible value. So maximum value will be always plus. So we write the final expression delta z is equal to, we can write delta a plus delta b. This is the formula for sum and difference. We can write this particular part. Okay. Now, so this is the formula, students. So we have studied about addition and subtraction, that is sum and difference method we have studied. Now next we are going to talk about errors in product and division. Now in this case, product and division part, now look here, it is given that z is equal to ab, right? That is the product one, and similarly we can find out for division also, that is z is equal to, we can have it a upon b. Okay. Now in this case, to find out a into b, again the same way, because we are going to write the absolute value, that is a plus minus delta a, we can write b plus minus delta b, that we are substituting here. So we are getting this particular part, that is z is equal plus minus delta z is equal to a plus minus delta a into b plus minus delta b. Once you multiply everything, this term will be multiplied this with the whole one. So you are getting here a b a delta b, right? This is what the multiplication. Similarly, delta a we are going to multiply. So you are going to get this particular part, right, students? And then when you divide by z on both the sides, okay, so divide by z, you are going to get this particular term, and here also you are going to get it here. Along with this, then definitely you will understand how we are getting this particular step. And then after this, students, what we are going to get is, finally we are going to get this particular, because delta a upon b upon a and delta b upon b, this particular term can be neglected, because small value, when you multiply with the smaller one, it becomes very small, which we can neglect. For example, small value in the sense, suppose 5.5 into 0.6, when you multiply these two numbers, you are getting what? Smaller value. Smaller value will be what? 0.03, which again becomes very small. Okay, so we can neglect that. Okay. So students, this is all multiplication division part, which is the important one. So remember this particular formula. Okay, for multiplication division, what is the formula, students? Delta z upon z is equal to delta a upon a plus delta b upon b. Then after this, then we are going to talk about significant figures. Significant figures is nothing but what? Figures which has in between zeros, right? And if zeros are to the left, right, to the left, then countings and all will not be done. That we are going to check here. So the first rule, students, you can see that non-zero digits are significant figures. That means numbers like this, we can say it as significant figures. So what is the number counting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 will be the significant figures for this. Okay. The second rule says that all zeros between two non-zeros are significant. For example, as you can see in this example, 0 is between non-zeros figures, digits, right? So we can count it. So again it becomes what? 5 figures, significant digits we can say here. Then after this, if the number is less than 1, okay, then here in this case, look at this case. here non-zero digits are there, but to the left, okay, all zeros are there, which we have to remove. We will not count that. So its significant figure will be only 1405. That means 4 significant digits will be there. Okay, so these are the rules, students. And next one is, the fourth one is, if the number is to the right side, okay, that is 1.500, of course we have to count it. Okay, numbers to the left side, zeros to the left side will not be counted. So this is all the rules for significant figures, which is again very easy. Next concept we are going to talk about, that is order of magnitude. To understand order of magnitude, students, this is very important part. Order of magnitude should be written in this format: a into 10 raised to the power. Okay, so the 10 to the power is also termed as order of magnitude. Now 8 should be lying between 0.5 to 5. Okay, remember this particular part. More than 0.5 and less than 5 we have to consider. For example, in simple way I will just tell you, if the number is 1, 2, 1, after that you can put 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. If it is more than 5, then it will be 0.5. Some number is there. 0.6, 0.7, 0.8. Like this we have to consider, and 0.9. Okay. So same thing is given. Look at this particular example. See this particular part. What was given initially? 6,400 kilometers. So that has to be converted into meters. So we can say that 6,400 10 raised to 3 meters. This is what we get. But this number is not the format of A. Okay, A format you have seen here, which is given here, right? So what are we supposed to do? Decimal has to be shifted. Where are we going to shift? 6 is the first number. Look at this particular. First number is 6. So it should be what? 0.6. So decimal I have to bring it this side. So that means if I bring here decimal, so how many numbers am I going to multiply here? 10 raised to what number? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. So what do you get then? 10 raised to 7. So this is what is the answer you are getting here. So this is how we have to get the order of magnitude. Here will be what? 7. Okay. Same thing you can see here, students, this particular part. Look at this. 1 point of course satisfies A value. So here order of magnitude will be directly 10 raised to minus 19. So magnitude will be minus 19. So this is how you get here. That's all. Then questions are based on that. So here all the questions are given. You can just find out the values, order of magnitude and everything. So students, we have learnt so many things here. We have learnt about fundamental quantities, derived quantities. Then we have learned about dimensions, uses of dimensions, and then we have learned about error, different types of error, different estimations of error, and of course numericals are given in the textbook at the end. You just start solving it, practicing it using all these formulae which is given here. That will definitely help you out. Okay, so wish you all the best, students. Do well in the exam.